Today's football results now on BBC Two. Final score with Ray Stubbs.
Good afternoon. Title, promotion, playoff and relegation issues are in the spotlight as we prepare to chart the closing stages of today's football matches. Goals scored in the next 20 minutes could prove to be priceless. Mark Brightly, Dixon and Garth Crooks are watching the Barclays Premier League games in progress. Portsmouth 2, Everton 1 is a result. More details to come. But let's immediately hear about top-of-the-table Manchester United and second-place Chelsea. Manchester United arrived at Fulham with a 4-point lead in the title race. Andy May reporting.
We could have a shock on our hands here, Ray. Fulham are leading 1-0 against the Premier League leaders. Danny Murphy scored a penalty in the first half after Paul Scholes was sent off, given a straight red for a handball on the line. He stopped a Bobby Zamora goal, which should have really gone in. In the first half, the home side completely outclassed Fergie's men, but in the second half, United all over Fulham as they chuck everything at getting this equaliser. Ronaldo's got a free kick now on the right-hand side, drifted in, hits the wall, and straight away cleared away by Fulham, who are defending for their lives. Tevez and Rooney are on as subs for United. Fulham 1, Manchester United 0.
Thanks, Andy. Second place Chelsea playing a London derby away at Tottenham. Roger Johnson reporting.
Well, it's Tottenham 0, Chelsea 0, but it's half-time here because kick-off was delayed by half an hour by a suspect vehicle outside White Hart Lane. That was removed, but with knowledge of United's difficult afternoon to their advantage, Chelsea have been thus far unable to capitalise. They forced Gomez into 2 saves in the Tottenham goal through Essien and Anelka, but Spurs have had the best opportunities, 2 for Keane and a genius drive. Drogba off early for Chelsea after a blow to the head just before the break as well. He may or may not return for the second half, which will recommence at Tottenham 0, Chelsea 0.
Liverpool fans will be following those 2 games with great interest. Liverpool at home to Aston Villa tomorrow. From the title race to the fight to avoid relegation. Third bottom Stoke playing second bottom Middlesbrough. Latest news from Damien Johnson.
Stoke 0, Middlesbrough 0, a duel first half, but it's developed into a more open attacking second. James Beattie's volley well saved by Brad Jones. The nearest we had to a breakthrough in the first 45 minutes. Beattie volleyed over from close range after the break, and he's just headed over when well placed. Middlesbrough have contained Stoke pretty well and looked to strike on the break. O'Neill and Tunchai going close. Both sides would give anything for a winner, but it's 0-0.
To the Hawthorns, where bottom of the table West Bromwich Albion are playing Bolton. Bolton arrived only 4 points above a relegation place. Andrew James reporting.
But they're better off now, Ray. It's West Brom 0, Bolton 1. Matty Taylor's 8th goal of the season. It was a long ball downfield from Jääskeläinen, headed out by the Albion centre-back Olsen, but only to Taylor, who put it straight back and into the bottom corner. He'd had 4 good efforts in the first half, saved by Carson. Albion have had just the 1 chance, and they've got all 3 substitutes on now. Albion 0, Bolton 1.
After 3 seasons in the top half of the table, Blackburn are trying to stave off relegation. Mark Bishop is watching them play West Ham, who arrived in 7th place.
Blackburn Rovers 1, West Ham United 1. Substitute Keith Andrews coming to the home side's rescue almost with his first touch after the restart. And Blackburn without a home win since January the 17th. They've dominated much of this game in the gloom in East Lancashire. West Ham lucky to survive a penalty appeal when Noble appeared to handle. We've just seen a great block by Tompkins that denied McCarthy. It's 1-1.
And there's time for scorelines to change in those matches. Newcastle versus Arsenal kicks off at 5:30. More details now on the Portsmouth-Everton game that kicked off at 12:45. Match finished just on 2 hours ago. Andy Barwell reporting.
A big win.
Second win in 14 matches for Pompey. Gives them a little bit of a breathing space away from the relegation places. Garth, Manchester United, you described as shocking in the first 45 minutes?
Andy May described them as shocking. I agree with him. It's the worst 45 minutes I've seen for United all season. That said, they've made a real go at it in the second half, and they brought Rooney on, and he's made a big difference. Berbatov's come on, but for Fulham, it's Murphy that's gone on with an Alkin injury, which is a big deal for Fulham because he was controlling the whole of the midfield in this particular game. He's gone, and United have now seized the initiative.
Don't forget that Manchester United have 10 men. Paul Scholes sent off.
Yeah.
We wondered whether losing to Liverpool would rock their confidence. Everyone thought they'd respond today pretty emphatically. They still might, of course.
Well, they might
but they might lose again.
Yeah, that that sort of start of the game that we expected to come from them after the Sir Alex Ferguson hairdryer last week, after their performance didn't come. Fulham were in the ascendancy, they had a lot of the ball, there wasn't that snap in the United closing down that there normally is, and Fulham basically deserved to be 1-0 up. Second half there has been a change, and Rooney's come on, and also Tevez has come on for Berbatov, and there's been a difference, but they've still got 10 men. They've created 5 or 6 chances second half. If one goes in, you probably think they'll get the second, but they've got to get that first one.
Manchester United haven't lost to Craven Cottage since 1964. And as far as the title race is concerned, if they lose again today now, well, everything is up for grabs.
Well, they've been shaken. There's no doubt about that. I think the crucial thing is that, you know, Danny Murphy's gone off. It looks like he's hurt his ankle. Bobby Zamora's just been taken off. I said if they take both the strikers off, they're in trouble, because Manchester United, it's wave after wave. I've got to say as well that Schwarzer has had the game of his life, keeping everything out, and Manchester United are throwing everything at
Fulham, you're right, but Fulham have brought Kamara on and left Johnson on, so they still have 2 strikers on and lots of pace. So the game's very much alive, and Fulham have got a chance of clinching all 3 points here.
Pace is no good if you haven't got the ball.
Yeah.
Turning to today's championship matches, between now and the end of the season, there'll be plenty of fixtures that puts teams facing relegation against teams fighting for promotion. Nottingham Forest versus Wolves, a perfect example. Alan Biggs reporting.
We've just had a goal. Nottingham Forest 0, Wolves 1. The game has needed a goal since 3 o'clock. It was developing into a stalemate, hardly a chance at either end. But now Wolves, who've taken the game to Forest without creating openings, have broken through. Ebanks Blake with a cross low from the right, which wasn't cleared. And Michael Kitely struck some 10 yards out, right-footed into the bottom corner. A bit harsh on Forest, who battled so well, but without showing much ambition. It's Nottingham Forest 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1.
Huge goal for Wolves, top of the table, but they're only 3 points ahead of Birmingham. Leeds were 3-0 up away at Crewe. Crewe are now back to 3-2. Leeds in the playoff places, unbeaten in 6 matches. Crewe just outside the relegation places, really making a fight of it. 2-3, Crewe 2, Leeds 3. Birmingham in the promotion race in the Championship, and Norwich trying to stay out of the relegation places. Steve Lee is watching the game at St Andrews.
Yes, Birmingham 1, Norwich 1. Another perplexing performance from Birmingham City. No wonder their manager, Alex McLeish, looks an exasperated man. They went into the lead when Cameron Jerome profited from a spill from the Norwich keeper, David Marshall, from Hamo Boazza's cross. The Norwich bench thought it had been impeded, but it was 1-0 to Birmingham at half-time, undeservedly so. In the second half, Norwich came back, and Sammy Clingham made it 1-1. That's the score at the moment, 1-1.
Well, you never know what's going to happen, do you? Let's go to White Hart Lane. Tottenham against Chelsea. Roger Johnson.
Listen to the noise. That'll tell you who scored. It's Tottenham Hotspur 1, Chelsea 0. Luka Modric with the goal. It was made by Aaron Lennon on the right-hand side. Whipped it across. There were 3 Tottenham players on the edge of the penalty area, all queuing up. And Modric buried it right-footed past Petr Cech's dive. Chelsea have the opportunity, perhaps with United slipping up to gain ground, but they have work to do here now, because Tottenham, who've been the better side so far, lead by a goal to 0 4 minutes into the second half.
Tottenham have won 1 of the last 37 league games against Chelsea. Playoff chances have gone for Queen's Park Rangers in the Championship, but Bristol City were in with a chance. They did it last year. Will they do it this year? Latest news from Ben Jacobs.
QPR 1, Bristol City 1, and the visitors have just equalised. Michael McIndoe with a firm volley from Ivan Sproul's cross on the right-hand side, and they need that equaliser to keep their playoff hopes alive. They started the day 4 points adrift of the top 6. Jordi Lopez had put QPR ahead with a stunning free kick. It's QPR 1, Bristol City 1.
What an opportunity Chelsea have this afternoon if the score stays the same at Craven Cottage and they're trailing at White Hart Lane.
Well, what a finish. You've got to see this finish by Luka Modric. This is the highest quality. Lennon cuts it across the face of the box, and on the edge of the box, the line of the 18-yard box, Modric, on the inside of his right foot, just slices it past Cech. It's a great finish.
All of a sudden, if Manchester United can get level and the score stays the same at White Hart Lane, the whole thing has been turned on its head.
Well, there's one big smiling Benitez somewhere sitting at home with these results the way they're going, because it's going all Liverpool's way at the moment. And you can see United getting back into the game, maybe getting a draw. You can't see them going on and winning it, I don't think. Chelsea obviously being slightly outplayed by Tottenham. Well played, Tottenham. And Crooks is right. What a fantastic finish from Modric.
News on today's SPL games now. Kilmarnock 0, Motherwell 0. A final score already in. Let's hear from Ibrox, where Rangers are playing Hearts. A Rangers win takes them back to the top of the table. Ian Turner.
We should have a barnstorming last 10.5 minutes. Rangers 2, Hearts 2. Rangers controlled this game for the first 63 minutes when Hearts finally managed a shot on goal. That was a Callum Elliott effort, tipped away for a corner from which Christos Karapides scored. 4 minutes later, Ruben Palazuela's got a second for Hearts, and Rangers goals from Lafferty and Ferguson were cancelled out. We should have a good finish, 2-2.
Celtic stay top of the table if the score stays the same. Southend hoping for the playoffs in League One are going to get 3 points this afternoon, beating Carlisle by 3-0. Let's go to the Hawthorns. West Bromwich Albion against Bolton. Andrew James.
Well, probably only Adrian Giles and the most die-hard West Brom fans would believe they still have a chance of safety, Ray. West Brom 1, Bolton 1 now. The score, though, Robert Corran is the man that's got the goal back for West Bromwich Albion, cutting in from the right touchline. The drive with the left foot, and it took an almighty deflection off Danny Shittu, the Bolton defender. It's West Brom 1, Bolton 1.
If West Bromwich Albion can get another goal, well, maybe they can save their Premier League status. News now in the game between the bottom two clubs in the SPL. Bottom of the table, Falkirk, playing second bottom Inverness. Brian McLaughlin reporting.
And Falkirk have just gone 3-0 up against Cally Thistle. Carol Finnegan and Michael Stewart scoring the first two. The third goal coming from the penalty Scott Arfield, the scorer. Cally also down to 10 men. Ryan Essen, the Cally goalkeeper, sent off for handling a pass back that was going into the back of the net. Michael Fraser on the park. It won't matter anyway. We've 8 minutes left and Falkirk lead by 3-0.
Falkirk were 4 points adrift of Inverness at the bottom of the table. It's going to be 1. Crystal Palace versus Reading, a 5:20 kick-off in the Championship. Reading third in the table. Cardiff plays Sheffield United tomorrow, and that's the two teams currently 5th and 4th in the table. So can sixth place Burnley take advantage by winning away at Plymouth? Hamish Marshall reporting.
They've just put themselves in the driving seat. They're on course for that 4th place tonight. Robbie Blake given too much space by the Plymouth defence. 20 yards out, he shot past Roman Lario. Burnley can argue they've been the better side in the second half, but until Blake's effort, the end product had been lacking. Stephen Caldwell headed them in front in the first half. Alan Judge levelled for Plymouth within a minute. Argyle could be in the bottom 3 tonight if they lose. They're going to have to chase this game now. It's Plymouth 1, Burnley 2.
And Burnley going 4th to Loftus Road. Queen's Park Rangers against Bristol City. A goal, Ben Jacobs.
Is this the end of Bristol City's playoff hopes? It's QPR 2, Bristol City 1. Adel Tarap tapping in from 4 yards out after Damien Delaney's low cross from the left-hand side. City, remember, had only just equalised through Michael McIndoe. They now trail by 2-1.
Back to Craven Cottage. Fulham 1, Manchester United 0. How long to go? Andy May.
Oh, there's less than 6 minutes now, Ray, and Fulham are desperately hanging on to this lead, which will mean their first win over United at home for 45 years. Tevez has just had a chance on goal, a header which went wide of Mark Schwartz's right-hand post. The Fulham fans loving this because just a few years ago they were watching Division 3 football. Fulham 1, Manchester United 0.
Chelsea losing 2. Liverpool fans loving it this afternoon. Bottom of the table, Charlton in the Championship playing Preston. Tony Lockwood.
It's goalless. It's an encounter that's lacked genuine quality. Charlton may be all but relegated, but they're to be applauded for their application. Mark Hudson, the skipper, with a misplaced header. Zheng Zi's low strike turn round the post. Preston with playoff aspirations, failing to impose themselves on the road. It's that away form that's let them down, and it's a scoreline that suits neither side. 0-0 at the Valley.
Southampton second bottom in the table, so many seasons in the Premier League, facing going into the third tier, where Blackpool not safe either. Richard Askham.
Blackpool 1, Southampton 1, Ray. After being on the back foot for most of this game, David McGoldrick has grabbed a precious equaliser for the Saints, weaving his way into the box before slotting home. Blackpool, who led on the half hour through a DJ Campbell penalty, could have scored plenty more, but this game is now very much in the balance.
A priceless goal has been scored at the Britannia Stadium. Stoke against Middlesbrough, Damien Johnson.
And it's gone to the home side. Stoke City 1, Middlesbrough 0. It was a long throw from the right-hand side. And I think it was Ryan Shawcross up from the back with a flicked header. It went past keeper Brad Jones. And Stoke City have a priceless lead here, 1-0.
Well, Stoke's home form has been the key factor of their season. Middlesbrough looked like they might be facing relegation, but Stoke, I know there's a long way to go, Garth, but that goal could be absolutely priceless.
Well, it was the Delap throw that caused the problem, and Middlesbrough were busy fighting off, I think it was Cedarby.
Yes,
and it was Shawcross that came in on the blind side to got a great flick. And you've got to remember, it's their home form that's kept Stoke alive in this Premiership, and they've got Newcastle at home, they've got West Ham at home, and they've got Wigan at home. They could stay up.
Middlesbrough, it's all about momentum, surely. They haven't won since November, lost the last 7 away. If they lose again today, they'll just be feeling, well, not bottom, but close to rock bottom.
Confidence is pretty low at the best of times, but as Damien said, they haven't done too bad today. Oh, goal!
Let's immediately go back to Craven Cottage. Fulham against Manchester United. Andy May.
Remarkable stuff, remarkable stuff. Zoltan Gera with the second for Fulham. An acrobatic effort as he turned and shot on the turn. No chance for Edwin van der Sar right through the centre of the goal after being set up on the right-hand side by Andy Johnson. And look at the Fulham fans, they're going absolutely crazy at Craven Cottage. Manchester United with a definite defeat. There's just 2.5 minutes to go. Zoltan Gera with the second. Fulham 2, Manchester United 0.
The only good news for Manchester United this afternoon so far is that Tottenham are beating Chelsea.
Absolutely.
What a performance from Fulham.
Unbelievable, because we thought they were on the back foot in the second half. Man United were throwing people forward. I know they've only got 10 men. Good play from Andy Johnson down the right-hand side. Cut the ball back to Gera as a substitute. He miscontrols it, pops up in the air, and he does an acrobatic overhead kick into the back of the net. I mean, well, I don't think there's any way back for Manchester United now.
Let's go to White Hart Lane. Tottenham against Chelsea. Long time to go there, Roger Johnson.
Plenty of time, but Tottenham come again with Modric. A good save by Cech. We're just approaching the quarter-hour mark in this delayed kickoff, so half an hour for Chelsea to try and salvage something. But you have to say Modric put Tottenham ahead minutes after the restart, and Tottenham much the better side. Only 2 saves in the game of any note from Gomez in the Tottenham goal. Chelsea are about to bring Quaresma on. Drogba is on as well after half-time, but it's Tottenham leading by a goal to 0.
Let's go back to Craven Cottage. Fulham 2, Manchester United 0. Andy May, developments.
Manchester United down to 9 men. I didn't quite catch that because there were some fans standing up in front of me. Wayne Rooney's just been sent off. I think it was from dissent for the referee. Wayne Rooney just smashes the corner flag as well as he walks by. He threw the ball at the ref. Clear dissent from Wayne Rooney. It's 2-0 to Fulham. Manchester United are down to 9 men.
Well, it's all going horribly wrong for Manchester United. Scholes are going to get a suspension. Rooney's going to get a suspension.
Vidic already suffering a suspension.
Did he throw the ball at the referee?
We haven't seen it, but we believe that's what's happened. He's petulantly throwing the ball at the ref. If you do that, you're running a risk of a red card without even question, and that's what's happened, I think.
Is that bringing the game into disrepute? Could that be throwing the ball at the referee?
It's dissent. I mean, it's a disagreement with the referee's decision. But you've got to question the wisdom of Sir Alex Ferguson putting Rooney on the bench at the start of this game. There's an international weekend next weekend. What are you saving him for? This is a game you need to win. Start with your best team.
Well, I'm not going to question the wisdom of Sir Alex Ferguson, but what I will say is that there have been 2, I think, incidents here where Scholes handballs, and I have to bow to the defenders who say it was instinctive, fine, no problem. But then for Rooney to get sent off for petulance, I think is unforgivable. And I think that's going to be the problem. We've seen United fall apart in 2 games.
We saw signs of it last week against Liverpool. The man times he didn't get the ball when he wanted the ball. He was throwing his arms down. Alan Hansen mentioned it on Match of the Day. Not happy. All of a sudden, he's not happy now because he's been sent off.
4 years since Manchester United lost successive Premier League games. It looked like they were clearly on their way to the title. They lose at Liverpool. They're losing at Fulham this afternoon. They're down to 9 men. They're going to suffer suspensions. Are the champions wobbling? You bet they're wobbling at the moment. Stoke against Middlesbrough. Damien Johnson.
Well, there's no sign of a Middlesbrough fight back. Stoke still lead through that Ryan Shawcross header, a flicked goal. He took it with the aplomb of a striker, actually, up for a long throw that came in from the right from Delap. Middlesbrough, it's hard on them. They've played well. They've counter-attacked. They've flicked the ball about well. Stuart Downing very much to the fore. But there's a couple of minutes left. Stoke have a priceless lead. 1-0.
Chelsea still losing away at Tottenham. That match kicked off at 3:30. There was a suspect vehicle in and around North London. The police had to sort that out, make sure everything was fine. 3:30 kickoff. Modric for Spurs. Spurs 1, Chelsea 0. Fulham 2, Manchester United 0. In the Championship, Derby against Barnsley. Approaching the final whistle. James Mason.
Yeah, Ray, it's still goalless late into the game. In truth, Barnsley should be leading, having hit the post and come up against Stephen Bywater in inspired form. Neither side safe from relegation, and surely one goal will steal all 3 points. Derby 0, Barnsley 0.
To Hillsborough for the story, the Sheffield Wednesday Swansea match from Steve Sutton.
Still stalemate, Ray, but Sheffield Wednesday very nearly broke it deep in this second half. Richard Hines header heading for the top corner before De Vries miraculously dived to claw it out, but no goals, Ray, 0-0.
Top of the table, St Johnstone. Final whistle, Scottish Division 1. They beat Nergy by 3-0. All the final scores coming in Scotland. Great week for Dunfermline through to the semi-finals of the Scottish Cup and their first win in 5 league games away at Clyde. Let's go to Portman Road. Lizzie Greenwood-Hughes is watching the Championship match between Ipswich and Watford.
And it's still 0-0 after 88 minutes here at Portman Road. Ipswich have continued to dominate in the second half with by far the majority of the chances, but they just lack composure in their finish. Watford seem to think they're Arsenal and are trying to walk the ball into the net, failing every time. So with around 3 minutes to go, although we've got a lot of injury time here at Portman Road, it's Ipswich Town 0, Watford 0.
United losing, Chelsea losing, Liverpool fans enjoying the afternoon. Coventry against Doncaster, Jared Young.
Well, Coventry dominated the first half, breaking the deadlock through a fabulous goal from 40 yards by David Bell. Doncaster have responded well in the second period. Paul Heffernan and Dean Shields have had chances to equalise for Rovers, but Coventry still have their slender lead with 3 minutes of stoppage time left to play.
Northampton kicked off just outside the relegation places in League One on goal difference. They've beaten Stockport by 4-0. Stockport's playoff chances nearly all but gone. Leicester against Colchester. Let's hear about the League One leaders. John Roder.
Leicester 1, Colchester 1, and Leicester have really been fought hard all the way today by Colchester, who took the lead through a Mark Yates free kick midway through the first half. Paul Dickoff with the equaliser about a minute or so after he came on as a substitute, poking it in from close range. Both sides with chances to win it. It's going to be a very good ending. All square, one apiece.
Third against fourth in League Two. Winner gets an automatic promotion place. Wickham against Rochdale. Jonathan Overend.
And a late goal. It's gone to Rochdale, who are heading into the automatic promotion places here. Adam Lafondra got it on the break in the last minute of the 90, but it really stemmed from a terrible clearance from Marek Stech in the Wickham goal, who was furious with himself after conceding it. Rochdale lead by a 1-0.
Well, Grimsby going to climb out of the bottom two. They're playing second place Gillingham, second bottom against second top Naz Premji.
And there's been a goal here, Ray. Grimsby Town 3, Gillingham 0. Barry Condon in stoppage time. The Mariners could be out of the drop zone. John Louis Akbar and Nick Hegarty with the first two. The visitors guilty of being wasteful in front of goal. It's now Grimsby Town 3, Gillingham 0.
Grimsby out the bottom two. Chester fall into the bottom two. Both teams fighting to avoid relegation out of the Football League. Final whistles are going all round the country. Let's go to Ewood Park. Blackburn against West Ham United. Mark Bishop.
It's all over, Ray. Blackburn Rovers 1, West Ham United 1. Full credit to the visitors, though, for weathering a second-half onslaught by Blackburn, although surely a stonewall penalty for West Ham when substitute Kieran Dyer was upended by Samba. Referee Chris Foy, much to the mirth of the 21,000-plus crowd, fell over at full pace going down the wing in the second half, and he was far from popular for both sets of supporters. A series of bizarre decisions. Benny McCarthy, he'll root that miss from close range after 8 minutes. It's finished Blackburn 1, West Ham 1.
Let's immediately go to Craven Cottage. Fulham against Manchester United. And let's go to the Hawthorns. Andrew James following the West Bromwich Albion Bolton game.
Ray still playing here. It's still West Brom 1, Bolton 1, but on his return to the Hawthorns, Gary Megson has been sent to the stands, sent off instantly by Howard Webb, the referee, for some choice words offered to the assistant referee. It's Bolton 1, West Brom 1, Bolton 1, and still playing, Ray.
Chelsea losing away at Tottenham. Manchester United have been beaten. Liverpool fans enjoying the afternoon. As far as relegation is concerned, Stoke against Middlesbrough. How long to go at the Britannia Stadium? Damien Johnson can tell us.
We're playing stoppage time here. There are 4 minutes in all of that. The whistles ringing around the Britannia Stadium. The home crowd want referee Lee Mason to blow now, but he isn't. Middlesbrough, I think, aren't going to get another chance. Stoke just wasting time. They've won a free kick in the corner there. And there is the final whistle. Referee Lee Mason has brought this game to an end, and it's that header from Ryan Shawcross late in this second half that has given Stoke City a crucial victory here. They're dreaming of survival in the Premier League. Dire straits now for Middlesbrough.
Well, it's a vital 3 points for Stoke City. Their home form so far this season has been the vital thing. Right, let's go to the Hawthorns. West Bromwich Albion against Bolton. Andrew James.
Yes, West Brom 1, Bolton 1, Ray, and Bolton manager Gary Megson sent off in that stoppage time finish. Only the mathematicians, though, know how to hold out any hope for West Brom. A late goal deflected by the gargantuan thighs of Bolton defender Danny Shittu gave Albion late hope. But for all their neat football, they once again lacked menace in front of goal. And Matty Taylor's 8th of the season for Bolton early in the second half was one of many chances that Taylor produced, mostly from free kicks. Albion produced a storming stoppage time finish, but it was too little too late on the day, and that probably reflects their season too. West Bromwich Albion 1, Bolton Wanderers 1.
Let's go to White Hart Lane. Manchester United have been beaten. Tottenham beating Chelsea last time we heard. Roger Johnson with the update.
They still are. Remember, a delayed kick-off here, so we're midway through the second half. Tottenham through Luka Modric's goal still lead. Chelsea have brought on, in place of Belletti, Quaresma. Quaresma's just curled one into the arms of Gomez. Lampard's just put a shot wide. Chelsea realise there's a sense of urgency. They have to try and get something from this game, but at the moment Tottenham in control at 1-0.
Let's go to Ibrox. Rangers against Hearts. Ian Turner.
Rangers 2, Hearts 2. A damaging second half for title aspirants Rangers. They dominated proceedings for the first hour, during which time Lafferty and Ferguson scored. But 2 goals in 4 minutes from Karapidis and Palazuelos ensured that Rangers would not take advantage of Celtic's inactivity. Credit Hearts for a great comeback, but that's another 2 points that Rangers have thrown away and might live to regret. Rangers 2, Hearts 2.
The Celtics stay top of the table. They play away at Dundee United tomorrow. Falkirk against Inverness. Highly significant as far as the relegation situation is concerned in the SPL. Brian McLaughlin.
Yes, finished Falkirk 4, Cally Thistle 0. A terrific victory for the home side. Mark Stewart, a penalty from Scott Arfield and a double from Carol Finnegan, the scorers. Cally finished with 10 men. Goalkeeper Ryan Essen seeing red. It finished here, Falkirk 4, Cally Thistle 0.
In the Championship, top of the table, Wolves away at relegation threatening Nottingham Forest. Alan Biggs.
Nottingham Forest 0, Wolves 1. The billing bigger than the game, which so often happens, I suppose. Barely a clear chance at either end until the late goal, and yet strangely watchable for all that. Certainly fiercely competitive, but no doubt Wolves always likeliest to force the issue, which Michael Kitely finally did, right in front of the 5,000 away fans. It's finished Nottingham Forest 0, Wolves 1.
Wolves in a very strong position for automatic promotion. Let's hear about second place Birmingham at home to Norwich facing relegation. Steve Lee.
It's Birmingham 1, Norwich 1. We're in stoppage time, and a point the very least Norwich deserve against a Birmingham side who continue to frustrate their fans. Cameron Jerome gave the home side the lead after Marshall spilled Boazza's cross. Sammy Klingon equalised for Norwich, who've been the better side. It's 1-1.
All today's results are just about in, and it's been an eventful afternoon, hasn't it? Here's Tim Gudgeon with today's final scores.
In the Barclays Premier League, Blackburn Rovers 1, West Ham United 1. Fulham 2, Manchester United 0. Newcastle United and Arsenal have an evening kick-off at 5:30. Portsmouth 2, Everton 1. Stoke City 1, Middlesbrough 0. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Chelsea 0 is the latest score. They didn't kick off until 3:30. West Bromwich Albion 1, Bolton Wanderers 1. In the COCA-COLA Championship, Birmingham City 1, Norwich City 1, latest score. Blackpool 1, Southampton 1. Charlton Athletic 0, Preston North End 0. Coventry City 1, Doncaster Rovers 0. Crystal Palace and Reading have an evening kick-off at 5:20. Derby County 0, Barnsley 0. Ipswich Town 0, Watford 0. Nottingham Forest 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. Plymouth Argyle 1, Burnley 2. Queen's Park Rangers 2, Bristol City 1. Sheffield Wednesday 0, Swansea City 0. In the COCA-COLA League 1, Bristol Rovers 0, Peterborough United 1, latest score. Crewe Alexandra 2, Leeds United 3. Hartlepool United 2, Millwall 3. Huddersfield Town 2, Cheltenham Town 2. Leicester City 1, Colchester United 1. Leyton Orient 0, Walsall 1. Northampton Town 4, Stockport County 0. Oldham Athletic 0, Tranmere Rovers 2. Scunthorpe United 2, Brighton and Hove Albion 0. Southend United 3, Carlisle United 0. Swindon Town 3, Hereford United 0. Yeovil Town 0, Milton Keynes Dons 0. In League 2, Accrington Stanley 2, Exeter City 1. Barnet 3, Lincoln City 2. Bournemouth 0, Notts County 1. Bradford City 0, Port Vale 1, latest score. Bury 1, Chester City 1. Darlington 2, Aldershot Town 0. Grimsby Town 3, Gillingham 0. Luton Town 1, Macclesfield Town 0. Rotherham United 3, Chesterfield 0. Shrewsbury Town 0, Morecambe 0. Wycombe Wanderers 0, Rochdale 1. In the Blue Square Premier, Altrincham 2, Forest Green Rovers 5. Barrow 2, Lewis 0. Eastbourne Borough 1, Burton Albion 2. Grays Athletic 2, Mansfield Town 1. Kidderminster Harriers 3, Woking 0. Northwich Victoria 2, Torquay United 3. Salisbury City 1, Rushton and Diamonds 1. Weymouth 0, Kettering Town 2. Wrexham 0, Crawley Town 2. In the Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, Falkirk 4, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0. Hamilton Academical 0, St Mirren 0. Hibernian 0, Aberdeen 0. Kilmarnock 0, Motherwell 0. Rangers 2, Hearts 2. In the IRN-BRU Scottish Division 1, Clyde 1, Dunfermline Athletic 4. Queen of the South 3, Livingston 3. Ross County 1, Greenock Morton 1. St Johnstone 3, Airdrie United 0. Scottish Second Division, Arbroath 0, Wraith Rovers 2. Ayr United 0, Peterhead 0. Brechin City 1, Alloa Athletic 0. East Fife 4, Stranraer 0. Queen's Park 3, Stirling Albion 1. And Scottish Div 3, Albion Rovers 0, Montrose 1. Berwick Rangers 2, Elgin City 1. Cowdenbeath 2, East Stirlingshire 0. Dumbarton 0, Allen Athletic 2. Stenhouse Muir 0, Forfar Athletic 1.
Late kickoffs today. Obviously, at White Hart Lane, Tottenham beating Chelsea by 1-0. That match didn't get going till 3:30. The rest are all results now. Birmingham City 1, Norwich City 1, Plymouth Argyle 1, Burnley 2. Burnley going 4th in the table. Birmingham 2nd, of course. COCA-COLA League 1, Bristol Rovers 0, Peterborough United 1. It's a big win for Peterborough, who kicked off 2nd. And in League 2, Bradford City 0, Port Vale 1. It's a setback for Bradford, whose promotion hopes seem to be taking a bit of a thump in recent weeks. The thoughts of Mark Bright, Lee Dixon and Garth Crooks on the significance of today's results is on the way after we've looked at the updated league tables. In the Barclays Premier League, Manchester United's shock defeat at Fulham means their advantage at the top remains at 4 points. Chelsea's game at Tottenham kicked off 30 minutes late, as we say, currently failing to take advantage of Manchester United's wobble, losing 1-0 at White Hart Lane. Liverpool play Aston Villa tomorrow. Everton lost 2-1 at Portsmouth in the day's early kick-off, but all can extinguish any chance of their hopes of a top 4 finish, but they stay 6th. West Bromwich Albion continue to prop up the table. They drew 1-1 at home to Bolton this afternoon, a result which leaves them 7 points from safety. Middlesbrough's hopes of staying up suffered a crushing blow with defeated fellow strugglers Stoke. They're now 4 points adrift. Newcastle slip into the relegation zone, but can climb straight back out if they beat Arsenal in today's late kick-off. Victories for both Stoke and Portsmouth lift them 3 points above the drop zone. Let's nip through the Football League tables. In the Championship, Wolves have extended their lead to 5 points over Birmingham, who are held with a draw at home today. Reading will move to within 2 of automatic promotion if they beat Crystal Palace in the evening kick-off. Burnley move above Cardiff and Sheffield United, who meet tomorrow. Little change at the bottom. Most of the relegated threatened clubs earning a point today. The exceptions were Forest and Plymouth, who both lost. Charlton, Southampton, Forest in the relegation places. Let's look at League One. Runaway leaders Leicester had to settle for a point at home to Colchester. The Foxes lead down to 7 after second place. Peterborough won at Bristol Rovers. Millwall up to third after beating Hartlepool. Bottom club Cheltenham let a 2-goal lead slip to draw with Huddersfield. They're now 12 points adrift. Fellow strugglers Hereford slumped to a heavy defeat at fellow strugglers Swindon. It's Cheltenham, Hereford, Brighton and Yeovil in the relegation places. League Two leaders Brentford aren't in action until Monday, but their lead remains 6 points. Automatic promotion places for Brentford, Rochdale and Gillingham. Wickham, Bury, Exeter and Shrewsbury Town hold the playoff places. At the bottom, Chester slip into the relegation zone alongside Luton. Grimsby moving up a place following only their second win in 14 games. Situation in the Blue Square Premier League. Burton on for the automatic promotion place. Cambridge, Torquay, Histon and Stevenage hold playoff places. In the bottom, Lewis all but relegated after defeat to fellow strugglers Barrow. Only 21 points to play for, 21 points adrift. And in the Clydesdale Bank Scottish Premier League, Rangers have failed to displace Celtic at the top after letting slip a 2-goal lead. Celtic play Dundee United tomorrow. Hearts and Aberdeen remain on course for Europa League places. At the bottom, Falkirk's win over Inverness reduces the gap between the clubs to 1 point. Reaction to today's Barclays Premier League results now. There's a summary of what happened in the 6 matches played so far. Ryan Shawcross is Stoke's late hero as the Potters win at home for the 8th time this season. Defeat for Middlesbrough leaves them in desperate relegation trouble. Point apiece does little to help Blackburn in their battle against relegation or West Ham in their quest for Europe. Midfielders Mark Noble and Keith Andrews trade goals in a 1-1 draw. Robert Corran's deflected shot secures a point for bottom club West Bromwich Albion against Bolton, but it does little for Albion's survival hopes. Bolton keeping their heads above water, just. All the goals, all the saves, all the major incidents from those games and the Newcastle-Arsenal match still to be played will be shown on Match of the Day, 10:30 start on BBC One. One of tomorrow's 3 Premier League games is Liverpool versus Aston Villa. The significance has now increased greatly after Manchester United's result. Match of the Day 2 will show highlights too of the match between Manchester City and Sunderland and Wigan versus Hull. BBC 2 at 10 o'clock. So, 15 vital minutes now for Chelsea to try and get something at Tottenham. But really, Manchester United losing again. Explain the significance, please, Garth.
Well, quite simply, it lets... I'm sorry for the pause, because Chelsea have come very close twice. The significance is this. Liverpool are back in with a chance of nicking the title from Man United. Chelsea, tonight, if they don't get something at White Hart Lane, could be out of the race.
Well, it's time to close here on BBC 2, but via the red button we'll follow the rest of the Tottenham-Chelsea match, plus debate and discussion on today's results will continue till 6 o'clock, and we'll hear from managers and players as they emerge from their dressing rooms. Fulham 2, Manchester United 0. What an afternoon. Press the red button to stay with us here in the Final Score studio. Bye to BBC 2 viewers.